Goodbye America, Sophie's final flight home. London greeted her with grey skies and familiar drizzle. The arrivals hall at Heathrow Airport buzzed with reunions. And then she saw her mum. No cameras. No microphones. Just arms wide open. The hug was grounding. Real. You're home, her mom whispered. Home. The word didn't sting the way she expected. That night, wrapped in a blanket she'd owned since she was 16, Sophie listened to the rain tap gently against her bedroom window. It sounded nothing like Los Angeles traffic. It sounded like safety. Was it all a waste? The internet would debate it. Headlines would dramatize it. Fans would speculate. But lying in her childhood bed, Sophie understood something the noise couldn't reach. It wasn't a waste. Love is never a waste even when it ends. America taught her what she will never settle for again. It taught her that independence isn't loud, it's quiet confidence. It taught her that red flags don't turn green with hope. It taught her that being chosen isn't the same as being cherished. And perhaps most importantly, it taught her that going home is not the same as giving up. Goodbye doesn't mean defeat. Weeks later, when someone asked how she felt about being officially deported, she didn't flinch. She didn't let the word define her. Sometimes, she said calmly, a closed door is protection. The world had framed it as rejection. She reframed it as redirection. She began rebuilding not for television, not for validation, but for herself. New routines, new friendships, new clarity. And slowly, heartbreak softened into wisdom. A letter to America. If Sophie could write one last message before closing that chapter, it might read like this. Dear America. You were loud and beautiful and overwhelming. You gave me sunsets that looked unreal and lessons that felt very real. You broke my heart. But you also showed me my strength. I arrived chasing love. I'm leaving with self-respect. And maybe that's the greater story. Goodbye for now. The truth about 90 days. The premise of 90 Day Fiancé promises fairy tales compressed into deadlines. But real life doesn't compress neatly. Real love doesn't thrive under ticking clocks and immigration stress. Some couples make it. Some don't. And some, like Sophie, walk away before losing themselves completely. There is courage in that. A new beginning in old streets. Back in England, Sophie rediscovered pieces of herself she didn't realize she'd misplaced. She laughed easier. She slept better. She spoke louder. The girl who once whispered doubts in a Los Angeles apartment was now setting boundaries without apology. And while America had been a chapter, it was not the whole book. Far from it. Final boarding call. Love across oceans sounds romantic. And sometimes, it is. But sometimes the bravest act isn't boarding the flight towards someone. It's boarding the flight back to yourself. Sophie didn't leave America defeated. She left evolved. And somewhere between Los Angeles sunshine and London rain, she learned the most important lesson of all. Home isn't a country. It's the place you feel most like you. Goodbye, America. Not because she failed, but because she chose herself. But Sophie was also grieving a country. The first time she saw the Statue of Liberty years ago as a tourist, she'd whispered, one day she'd build something here. One day she'd belong here. One day she'd call this place home. And for a fleeting moment, she did. She learned American grocery stores are overwhelming. She learned strangers will tell you their life stories in line at coffee shops. She learned sunsets in Los Angeles look like paintings someone spilled orange and pink across the sky. She also learned that not every love story survives pressure. Not every visa becomes a wedding. Not every goodbye is loud. Some are quiet. Like now. The airport confession. At the security checkpoint, she removed her shoes. Strange, how love can unravel in such ordinary places. She checked her phone one last time. No new messages. There had been one earlier. I never wanted this. She stared at it for a long time. Neither did she. But wanting something doesn't make it sustainable. She typed, deleted, typed again. Take care of yourself. Send. That was their ending. No dramatic airport sprint. No cinematic reunion. No last-minute reversal. Just acceptance. Above the Atlantic. When the plane lifted off, Sophie didn't look back. The city shrank beneath clouds until it was just a memory stitched into coastline. Somewhere over the Atlantic, she allowed herself to cry, not for the cameras, not for social media, not for headlines. Just for her. She cried for the girl who believed love across continents would feel magical every day. She cried for the version of herself who tolerated too much because she feared losing everything. She cried for the dream of America. But beneath the tears was something steady. Relief. For the first time in months, there was no countdown clock, number 90-day pressure, no immigration interviews looming. Just sky. Just distance. Just time. And then there are arguments that linger in the air long after the shouting stops. Sophie tried, she truly did. She tried to ignore the way her voice felt smaller in certain conversations. She tried to convince herself that misunderstandings were cultural differences, not red flags. She tried to believe that love meant endurance. But endurance began to feel like erasure. America was big, loud, bold, unapologetic. Somewhere in its sprawl, she felt herself shrinking. The paperwork complications came like a storm cloud on the horizon. Meetings, interviews, tension, questions about timelines, intentions, authenticity. Nothing kills romance like immigration uncertainty. When the final notice arrived, it didn't scream, it didn't accuse. It simply stated a fact. Her stay would not continue. She would be returning to England. The call she never wanted to make. She phoned her mother first. There's something about a mother's silence that says everything. "You're coming home?" her mom asked gently. "Yes." A pause. "We'll make tea." That was it. No judgment, no "I told you so," just tea. And suddenly, the idea of going home didn't feel like failure. It felt like oxygen. America, the love that didn't last. People talk about heartbreak like it only belongs to romance. It felt like a promise. Palm trees lined the streets like they were waving her forward. The city buzzed with ambition and illusion. Somewhere between late-night tacos and rooftop arguments, she truly believed love would conquer paperwork, distance, and doubt. The 90 days were supposed to be romantic, a countdown to forever.